Good evening everybody, hello channel members, friends and followers. So here I am again in the CRJ. We're going to take her out for another spin. What could go wrong? It's a request from many of the channel members. I don't know why, but they keep liking the fact that CRJ is just a comedy of errors for us as we as we try to get a grip with this wonderful aircraft released by Aerosoft. And you know what? It's nice occasionally to sit out and step out of the Easyjet flight deck in the A320. So why not? And also, flying as a British Airways pilot gives us the chance to come into London Heathrow, which is always a joy. Love flying into London Heathrow. Sadly, obviously not a route that we do on from the Easyjet flight deck. So here we are. We're currently not on VATSIM, of course. I still don't trust myself anywhere near enough to get onto VATSIM for that. So until such time as is, we'll just be flying offline, getting ourselves vectored in, and of course learning along the way. I generally tend to learn from you when it comes to this aircraft. So flight fan says just get on VATSIM already. Are you crazy? No chance. And at the moment, even with the experimental build that's recently been released of the Airbus A320, after a few more flights with that, I'm getting a bit more confident that the aircraft's going to be absolutely fine on VATSIM. So we will be back in the A320 tomorrow for Mileage Monday. And that's always taking place on VATSIM, so looking forward to doing that. So hopefully we can provide you some evening's entertainment. We're flying today from Edinbrough, up in Scotland of course, to down to London Heathrow. This little shuttle run, Shuttle 3 Charlie. So let's go ahead, let's jump inside, and we'll see what happens. Jan Ray, good evening my friend. That's a lovely view of the tail. Why are we not getting inside the aircraft? Should we try again? Tell you what, let's do it the old-fashioned way. Cockpit, thank you very much. There we are. Oh, and it's just starting to rain as well. That's beautiful. We probably should get a quick look at the METAR whilst we're here, shouldn't we? Anyway, before we do that, let's. It's very dark in here. Let's get the batteries on. There we go. So the battery's now coming online, and we can we got the chocks should be still in place. Let's go to our options. Aircraft chocks are in place. Let's get the ground power cart. We need that to give us some power. There we go. Ground power cart is coming, and also get the ground air cart as well. That's all connected up. So let's have a look and just see what the weather is doing here. Aside from raining, it is Scotland after all. Echo Golf Papa Hotel, and current METAR is, whoa, that's windy. Okay, I'm going to just pop this in here for you guys to check out. There we go, gusting 34. Gusting 34, light rain, overcast 2,200 feet, 13 degrees. That's actually quite warm for Scotland. QNH 1002, very nice. Lewis, is this a real flight? Yeah, well, British Airways do fly from up to Edinburgh all the time from London Heathrow. I think they use the Airbuses though rather than the CRJs. In fact, I don't even know if they still have CRJs, but they used to. Yeah, so what was that? QNH 1002. Let's just make a little note of that. Good evening, Dark. Good evening, Lewis. Good evening, Jan. Sure, I'll do fine. I wish I had your confidence. Right, so with that all set up, let's get the APU generator. In fact, we can get the external power connected up as well, can't we? So let's get some external power, get the DC on as well. So external power is now on. Let's start getting those navs aligned, then all the way down here, and oh, that's the parking brake. Don't release that. Mind you, we've got the chocks in place, so that's okay. Juicy, good evening, great to see you. APU generator. Let's get the APU generator is on. Yep, good. And left and right fuel pumps on as well. Let's get some lights on. The wing lights. There we go. And GPU is already connected. DC power's on. Let's do the fire test. There we go. So APU power, and fuel, and then we can get the APU started. So the APU is now starting. Let's come down, check the APU is running. There we go. We can see that starting to fire up. I'll try. Where do I get the METARs from? I'll show you exactly where I get the METARs from. There we go. The WebPro site, which is used for calculating all my A320 performance calculations. Obviously non-applicable for this aircraft, but we do use it and get the METAR. So that's going to be quite a gusty takeoff. I don't know what the limits are for the CRJ, but that's almost bearing on the limits for the A320. And obviously this is a much smaller aircraft. So there we are. Good evening, Nick. I knew you wouldn't miss this one. Lewis, I think this will be a bumpy takeoff. Yeah, well, to be fair, even if it wasn't windy, chances are it's going to be a bumpy takeoff with me at the helm. So there we go. That's where I get the METAR from. And as I say, it's actually looking rather accurate given what I can see out the window. So yeah, and that rain's come in. It'd say light rain, so that's pretty good. That poor guy's getting soaked. Hydraulics on, so we need oh, it's to auto, isn't it? So that one, and that one. So there we go. And air conditioning, we've got the APUs now available, so we'll pop the air conditioning packs. They can come on as well. So let's go to the performance page of our EFB and let's have a look what we've got to get loaded. In fact, self-loading cargo is knocking about as well. Should we get the main door open? So let's have a look. See if we can start getting you guys on board. Self-loading cargo in the CRJ, don't quite agree. We really do have to fight with them a little bit, which is a shame. Talia Johnson, good afternoon, good evening. Alright, so let's have a look at our operational flight plan for today and see what we've got. Alright, so fuel load, let's have a look. So in the electronic flight bag, we're going to change to 0 fuel weight and see if we can get this in. So we've got 27068. Let's see if we can pop that in then, shall we? Let me just actually get the doors open. Doors open. Stairs. Oh, stairs up. There we go. So those doors should be now open. Everyone's getting on board. And performance page. Let's have a look. Right, so if we change that to 0 fuel weight, what did I say it was? 27068. Now let's see if this works. 27 and 0. Let's just type it in. It's easier, isn't it? 27068 and enter. And the fuel today, the planned block fuel is 3347. Oops, type that in there. 3347 and enter. Okay, right, so that gives us, once again, yeah, this doesn't quite work, it doesn't match up with SimBrief, but it tells us there we've got a payload of 10.6. Well, that's not true. If we switch back to our passengers and cargo now, our payload is actually, and we'll use this instead, otherwise we're not going to be inside the flight envelope. The payload is 6656. So let's type that in. For the payload, we'll just increase our passengers. 66. We're going to take a full load today. We'll throw some baggage off. Not the beers though. We'll keep the beers. In fact, no one's allowed to take any baggage. 6656. I said it was 6648. That's close enough. We'll take that. The fuel obviously remaining the same, 3347, so that's fine. So let's set the payload in the simulator. Let's just get those entered in. Set the payload in the simulator. Where does that show us? Ooh, right on the edge, but good enough. We're within. We're just within the limits there. That's all right. Okay, so payload in this, let's have a look on the fuel panel. I'm going to check what fuel we've got. 3347, is that loaded in? Let's check 3345, that's close enough. Okay, refueling is now done. So, the electronic flight bag, init fuel from aircraft, and check the FOB. So, we've set the payload from the simulator, init fuel from aircraft. 3346, 3345, again that's fine. Alright, well with that, let's now have a look at the FMS, something else that I have to fight with. So let's pop in, check all the data is correct there. Let's go to the POS init page. And where's the dome lights in this thing? It's too blooming dark. Is that over? It must be up here, isn't it? I get the dome light on, which should be over here, is it? Dome light on. That didn't seem to do very much. Can you tell I'm not used to this? Oh, there we go. Let's turn that up. There we are. Well, that side of the cockpit's a bit lighter. Not sure how to turn on the other side. Anyway, never mind. I can see a little bit better now. Right, where are we? We are at Echo Golf Papa Hotel. And we'll pop that in. No idea what gate we're at, but that's fine. So let's move over to the next page and we can get the IRS position. Select that. Come back to page 1, let's copy that in, and that's now all set. Oh, is the Nightbot a day behind? Let me just disable him. Let me get rid of the Nightbot. I'll just turn him off. Disable that. There we go. We're not flying the experimental version of the A320. If we were, I'd know what I was doing. Okay, so that's all set for now. Position is set. Let's have a look at the flight plan. Alright, so we're going from Echo Golf Papa Hotel. Where is it? Echo Golf Papa Hotel. To London Heathrow. Echo Golf Lima Lima. And we are departing runway, is it runway 24 here today? I believe. Let me just double check. Where's that flight plan gone? I haven't popped the flight plan into the chat, have I? Bear with me a sec, I'll do that. There we go. So, that's the flight plan now in the chat for you. Can I turn the mic up a bit? Yeah, of course I can. I just obviously don't want that to distort. Let me know if that's any better for you. Okay, runway. What runway were you departing from? Was it runway 24? Is that what I was just checking? Runway 24. There it is. Runway 24. And our alternate is Birmingham. Random. Echo Golf Bravo Bravo. And that goes. Flight number today is shuttle SHT 3 Charlie. There's an I missing out of that call sign for today. Flight number, there it is. So we've got all of that set in. Right, let's execute that. So that's all saved. So let's go to our departures and arrival page. So we are going to be taking the Telex 6 Charlie departure from runway 24. That's selected. Telex 6 Charlie. There we go. That now populates. Let's get that executed. That's all saved. And then go back to our arrival and departure index. Let's go to the arrival page, and we're going to be arriving on runway 27 right, apparently, which will obviously be an ILS runway 27 right Zulu. There we go. And it is the Nugra 1 Hotel. Let's go and find that. Have I just selected an RNAV? I don't think so. Go back to that. and departure and arrivals. I don't want an RNAV approach. Next page, RNAV. Oh, there we go. ILS 27 right. That's better. And it's the Nugra 1 hotel arrival. There it is. And we can select the transition for that. Is it going to be Vectors, Biggin, or Bovingdon VOR? Let's have a look. Actually, we come in via... let's have a quick look. So the Nugra comes in via Bovingdon, doesn't it? Bravo, November, November. There we go. So we'll pop that one in. And insert, or execute. There we go. So now to the, is it the flight plan page? No, it's not. It's the route. Now, this is always the bit that I forget how to do. Yeah, good evening. Oh no, the CRJ again. You haven't got enough booze. You have no idea how hard I'm concentrating to make sure I don't mess this up. Right, I can't actually remember how to sort out the blooming flight plan. Oh, there we go. Right, so from Tala, we are going to Uniform November 864. So, Uniform November 864. That's the airway. From there, it's up to Dean Cross, Delta Charlie Sierra. Delta Charlie Sierra. Then from Dean Cross, it's the Uniform Lima 612 airway. Uniform Lima 612. And then from Uniform Lima 612, it's to Lakey. There we go. Let's pop that in. From Lakey, it's then direct to Nugra. N-U-G-R-A. And I believe that is then it. If we just execute that, we've got a gap in the flight plan there. That's not normal, is it? So if we just copy that, go to the previous page, pop that in there. Oh, that's a shame. What's happening there? Right, I tell you what. This might have just updated itself. If I now go to the now the flight plan's in. Let's just pop that in again. Chris Hogg, good evening, sir. Good to see you. ILS 27 right. That's already selected. Yeah, ILS 27 right. And it's the, where's the Nugra? That's already selected, isn't it? By Bravo, November, November. Just execute that again. Will that update the flight plan? Direct to Nugra, and then we're not getting any waypoints. Why are we not getting any waypoints from so Nugra to Bravo, November, November, and then straight through to the ILS, unless we're just going to be vectoring ourselves in, which fair enough if that's what he wants us to do. But there's a gap in the flight plan there. That's not normal, and I can't. It's not even a discontinuity. It's just how random. Okay, let's have a look and go to the next page, next page, next page. Discontinuity. Oh, there it is. There we go. Right, so copy that, copy it to there. That's fine. Let's go to the next page. Next page. Oh, there we go. There's all the waypoints. And execute. There we go. Yeah, you know it's always chaos when I attempt to try and fly these things. Okay, so now that's all sorted. Let's continue on. So the flight plan's now in. We've got the route in. Let's go to the perf in it. So over on the FMS, copy and paste data to the FMS. So copy perf init data to the FMS. So hopefully that's now all done. Let's have a look at the cruise altitude. So let's go to our perf init. Where's that gone? Where's our performance page? Is that it? There we go. So perf in it. So there's all our weights popped in, etc. There's our fuel. Cruise altitude today is flight level 370. So we have to type that in, don't we? FL 370. There we go. All looks good there. And let's execute. So that's all set. We've added the cruise altitude. Next page. Let's just add the trip wind for our cruise, which is a slight tailwind of 7 T7. Pop that in. There we go. So that's that all sorted. Let's go on to the let's have a look at our estimated time of departure. Current time is 21:04. Let's go with 21:30, shall we? Although realistically, hang on a sec, go back, I've knocked 12 hours off, so that'll be 09:30. There it is. Beautiful. Okay, so we've added the ETD. Right, so VNAV setup then. Transition altitude here is, what's transition altitude in Edinbrough? It's going to be 5,000 or 6,000 feet, I'm guessing. Let's see if it tells us up here. 6,000 feet, there it is. So 6,000 feet. There we go. Any speed restrictions other than the norm? Nope, not that I can see there. Do not climb over 6,000 feet until instructed by air traffic control. Hey, if this aircraft wants to climb, it can climb. I'm not going to stop it, because I don't know how. The transition altitude is now set with no speed limits. Let's just have a look and check everything else. So cruise altitude is there. There's the target speed. And on descent, transition level coming into Heathrow is probably the same, actually. I've got a transition level shown here. So transition level will be by air traffic control, but I'm guessing transition altitude, we'll use that for now. So 6,000 feet again. So let's pop that in. There we go. Good. Yeah, if you have to admit one thing, you like the in-depth details of the CRJ. Hopefully the A320 will reach this level of detail. Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, apart from things like I know VNAV everyone's asking for, and stuff like that, fly-by-wire, they're on it. They really are. The amount of stuff that they have got going on is phenomenal. Really, really good. And there's lots of things lined up. It's just taking time to get it done. But the good thing about fly-by-wire, of course, is that it is a 24-hour operation. They've got developers literally, and I mean literally, all around the world. So as those developers are going to bed, the other ones are waking up, and they're cracking on. So many different fingers in so many different pies, all getting little bits of it done. Okay, so our initial stop climb, as I said, for our departure here is 6,000 feet. Yeah, 6,000 feet. So let's go and put that in the FCU. Is it called an FCU up here? So 6,000 feet. Ooh, missed it. There we go. 6,000 feet is now all set. So Buster, yeah, it makes you wonder how in depth the flyby A320 is and if the plane is easy to operate compared to this. In reality, the A320 is much easier to operate compared to this. I may be a little biased in saying that because I know how to operate the A320, but and I don't know how to operate this. Big difference. So, you know, it's... but the A320, it's the technology the Airbus has got on board it is scarily good. Organised 92, one of the biggest things you're missing in the A320 is working VNAV, which indicates tops of descent. So many people say this, and Organised 92, I'm here to tell you, you heard it here first, you don't need VNAV. You do not need VNAV in the A320. You can manage your own descent. If you're completely unsure when to start your top of descent, start at 100 miles away from the airport. It's a great... Start 100 miles away from the airport and descend at about 16 to 1700 feet per minute, depending upon the tailwind or headwind, and do it at around 270 knots. And you're not going to be far off. Monitor the weight or monitor the rate of descent, but and how you're doing with speeds and things. But it will get you down. That is a very, very loose ballpark figure. but you don't need VNav. It's probably one of the things that I'm least looking at when I see the list that fly-by-wire are operating on. Right, perf, let's have a look. Flex temp, nah. Toga. RadNav page, do we need to chuck anything in there? Nah, probably not. Wouldn't know how to use it anyway. So let's just have a look. It's not even called a RadNav page, it's just a radio page. We'll set a squawk. I like this squawk number. Shame it takes 4 digits and not 3, so we'll pop that in. We can also put in the flight ID for air traffic control, so that'll be shuttle 3 Charlie. There it is. Beautiful. So that's now in. Right, let's go to the main flight menu and see what we're going to turn on. So let's turn off the ETAs. We can turn off any speed restrictions. We'll leave the altitudes on, turn the airports off, not bother about all the other airports that are around there. Matthew, good evening. It's called the MCP. Is it main control panel? I'm guessing. High nav aids, we can leave those off as well. I will leave on the legs. I do like to see that. So that's quite neat. So over to the electronic flight bag and the V speeds, one for 130, 30, 140, and we're just going to V2 plus 10, 150 obviously. Having said that, let's just look outside. Our runway is actually wet, so let's go with wet, shall we? And flaps 8. So have any of those actually changed? It's not made a slight bit of difference, that has it? So let's set all. Let's just check they've transferred across. 140, 130, 124 and 150 is V2 plus 10. Good. Okay, so they've all been transferred across. Let's set the altimeter and baro. So just get rid of the flight yoke. I do like the way that you can do that as well. Let's have a look. And so the baro is 1002. 1002, and should set that on the standby as well. (1002). There we go. Nav source is to FMS. That's fine. Okay, so with that, I think we're almost ready to start pushing back and getting those engines started. What else have we got to do? We'll do all this lot once the engines are started and things are running. Let's have a look. Buster talking about technology in the A320. Did a full auto land with the new fly-by-wire update thanks to the recent stream. It's a weird feeling seeing your plane flare on its own. It's a great feeling seeing the plane flare on its own. It was an awful feeling when it didn't used to, and just used to destroy your nose gear. Right. Okay, so let's get the beacon light on. In fact, just before we do that, let's get our passenger signs on, shall we? So passenger signs to on, seatbelt signs to on, emergency lights are armed. So Matthew, if anyone's got any questions, feel free to ask. You'll be around for half an hour or so. Great stuff, Matthew. So how do I fly this plane? A serious question. Matthew is in our Discord on the CRJ help channel. So for those of you that do need any help with the CRJ, like myself, feel free to ask him the questions. Of course, I just do this for a little bit of light-hearted relief. And I know you guys love seeing me struggle my way through it. Most of you will probably much more comprehensively have flown this more than me and know exactly what you're doing. But hey ho, I'm certainly not trained on this aircraft. And there's a lot more hands-on flying to do than we're used to in the CRJ. Right, so the APU is now on. So X override. Let's get that on. That's all good. Right, let's get the beacon light on and ignition. Oh, actually, just before we do that, how are my passengers doing? They're not getting on because they're not boarding at all. The self-loading cargo doesn't want any passengers to come on board, which is a real shame. Has anyone else managed to get self-loading cargo working correctly with this aircraft? I'm really struggling. Every time I've done it, it's just not worked for me. Yep, that's a great question. How long does it take in real life to program and start up the CRJ? Does it take an hour and a half? Or as it did me the very first time I got in it, about 2 hours. I'm hoping not. The turnaround times for the CRJ are meant to be much, much shorter than that. Matthew, I like your philosophy. Flying it is easy. See mountain, miss mountain. See runway, hit runway. Can we not use land runway? Hitting runway is also almost as bad as hitting the mountain. You've just got a much better chance of survival. The aircraft shall, however, still usually be a bit of a write-off. Self-loading cargo is not going to work. Never mind. Right, so did we get the beacon light on? We did get the beacon light on. So let's get the ignition is now turned on. Let's go right engine start. Door? Is the door open? The door's not open. My blooming passengers can't get on board. Chocks are in place and apparently the door's open. Okay. Well, tell you what, the APU is running, so we can get rid of the ground power, we can get rid of the ground air, we can remove the, in fact we can close the door, and now we can remove the wheel chocks, and now the ignition is running. Let's have a look. Is that coming up to 20% N2? Yes it is. Oh Matthew, now you're just making me look really, really bad. So this was cold and dark and you said 10 minutes. Wow, that's impressive. But I guess that's what happens when you actually know what you're doing. Right engine can now come up to idle. There it is. So right engine should now start to fire up. Let's have a look at the left engine then, shall we? So left engine start. That's coming up as well. I see no one's answered me about getting self-loading cargo working with this aircraft, so I'm presuming it's just me. Rather, it's not just me. Everyone else is having problems with self-loading cargo and trying to get that to work. That's a real shame. N2 now is for N1, for engine number 1. Is it called engine number 1, or do they just call them right and left? So engine number 2 is now firing up. You can maybe hear self-loading cargo arguing with itself, trying to get that door open. Not the first time we've had that, is it? Okay, so now engines are running. Let's have a look at a little bit of de-ice, shall we? So that's up here. So the packs, do we need to turn those? Are they on? There we go. The fact they don't have lights really confuses me as well. Right, so that's on. Let's get anti-ice on. Particularly as it's raining and we've got clouds. Let's get the probes on. Let's get the window heat on as well. So that's fine. Barry, how do I get the information displayed at the top? So it is a third-party app, but you only use it for streaming. I can't actually see it here in the simulator, so it is literally just for streaming purposes. As I say, I can't see that. Right, so with that turned on. And a couple of new subscribers there. Jean Otis, thank you very much, sir. And William Lutz as well. Please don't take anything you see on this stream seriously, because I can't fly this aircraft. When I'm in the A320, that's a different matter. Okay, so yaw damp, Mac trim, and stabilizer trim. So let's come down here. Stabilizer trim and the yaw damp. Is that down here as well somewhere? Where's that? Ooh, there we go. Yaw damp 1, 2, That's fine. What else have I missed? I must have missed something else. Oh, the Mac trim. Let's get that sorted. There we go. Mac trim is off. Okay, I like it when we have no signs there. That means there mustn't be much else to do. Cowl anti-icing is on. Brake is on. That's fine. Continuous ignition. Can that come off now? Bleed air is set to normal. Is that? Let's have a look. Stabilize trim Mac. Bleed air can come to normal. Where's that? Bleed valves. Bleed air normal. Oh, that's already preset. That's fine. APU can now come off. So do we turn that off? Turn that off. Make sure nose wheel steering is armed, otherwise we're not going to go anywhere. And before we actually move, then we'll get the we'll get the taxi light on. Right, what else have we got? Continuous ignition and manual cross flow. That needs to come off. So continuous ignition, manual off, manual cross flow. That's off, and recirculating fan is off. Should that be on? Especially for COVID. Let's have a look. Oh, Nick, can you actually click the armrests? Does it move? Ah, fair enough. Recirculating fan. Is that on here? That's the aft cargo. Ram air. Is it important? Probably is important. Never mind. JJ, you could have walked to Edinburgh. You could have walked from Edinburgh to London faster. That's great, JJ. Thanks for that delightful, informative piece of information there. Okay. Well, I think we're about ready to push back. Do we have an actual tug today, or oh no, this guy's just going to push us. Fair enough. So let's get those taxi lights on, and I'm going to use the pushback helper to sort us. There we go. And we have got checklists on here as well that we can use. So before start, all fine. Clear to start. Set. Yeah. Fine. And then the after start. We'll do that. We've done that already. Generators to auto. Electric's fine. Bleed air. Auto. Packs are on. APU is off. Anti-ice is on. Nose wheel steering is on. So now for taxi. Thrust reversers armed. Brake temperature, yeah, that's probably fine. And trims green and checked. There we go. Now the elevation of Edinburgh. Let's just have a look at this. So elevation is about 100. So that will display over here, won't it, when we start to change that. And it's not that one. Next one. There we go. Landing elevation 100. Alright, let's release the parking brakes, and the guy can start pushing us back. Parking brakes are there, wheel chocks are removed, and let's reverse. Oh, is the tug even there? It's a phantom tug as well, remember guys, it's not actually really there. As we have a quick look outside, you can see there's no one pushing us back today, which is quite sad. There we are. Back we go. Chris, you're quite right. We do need lights in the flight deck. But you know what? Once we get above the sun, it'll be fine. Above the sun, did I just say? I meant above the clouds. If we get above the sun, then something's seriously gone wrong with this flight. Someone wants to tell me why the rat is deployed. That's not normal, is it, prior to departure? Things aren't that bad already, are they? What have I pressed? I've pressed something to deploy it, clearly. How do we undeploy it? I'm looking forward to this takeoff, though. Very, very windy. I can hear the wind bustling through the speakers. Yotov, Nicola, welcome, sir, to the First Officers Club. Very much appreciated. Make sure when the camera crew come round, you get your complimentary free glass of champagne, or whichever beverage you wish. But great to have you on board and joining the Easyjetsimpilot community. Once again, I must say, don't take anything I say with regards to flying this plane seriously. I don't know how to fly this plane. We're here purely for the purely for comedy value and entertainment. Matthew, can I close it on the EFB? Let's have a look. Performance, aircraft. Where would it be then? Ground power, service, ground air cart. Let's have a look and see, shall we? Why is the rat out? Right, well, either way, the pushback's complete. Let's put the parking brake on and send the tug driver on his way. Mitch, hello, good to see you. Okay, anyone want to tell me how on earth we get rid of that? I don't fancy flying down to London Heathrow with that spinning around. It's not going to do me any favours. We don't need it. I've not broke anything that much just yet. Whilst I'm waiting for one of you guys to help me. Let's just set those flaps to 8. There we go. Matthew, it's under the maintenance tab as ADG. Ah, thank you. Maintenance. Oh, there we go. Stowed. I wonder where that came out. I don't even think I've touched this page. Let's just double check. That should now have gone. Obi-Wan, you used the A320. Now, is this a better plane or just different? It's just different. I wouldn't say it's any better. I wouldn't say it's any worse. It's just different. Completely different methodology of flying, different principles with regards to how you set up the flight deck and things. So, for those of you that have seen the A320 streams that I do, then you'll know that we literally jump in, whiz through everything, get the flight deck set up, go through the departure briefing, etc., and we're off and we're out. But in this case, it's most certainly not. That's an interesting. That's a worry. Right, hang on a second. I'm going to have to recalibrate those because just pop that parking brake back on. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to recalibrate those. 1 second. Let me just change my controls because I haven't got any authority over the thrust lever just there. Let's go back to the normal profile we used. Let's just apply and save that. Go back, resume, and then I want to check where those detents are showing. So just go to the options, next page. We've got the calibrate page, haven't we? So let's just go to, there's idle, we can set that. We want to go to the climb, I can set that just there. We can go to toga, yeah, I know you. There we go, and that's fine, no errors found. Let's pull that back, save those options. There we go. The last thing you want to do in this aircraft is fly with your thrust levers not working, because you've got to manually control quite a bit of your own throttle on this aircraft, as we have discovered previously. So now let's carry on that taxi, shall we? Nick, we should call this Sarcastic Sundays. Yeah, well, why not? I'm only doing this for you, Nick. I'm purely in the CRJ just for you. You like a bit of comedy on a Sunday night. Right, taxi, taxi, taxi. So, I wonder if it's still as windy as it was when we got the weather. In fact, I can see that wind is blowing the rain sideways. That's a really nice touch. That's quite neat. Well, self-loading cargo won't be happy anyway, because half the passengers are still just left at the terminal, which they may thank before or afterwards. I may have just saved their lives by leaving them behind. It looks like miserable weather as well, doesn't it? The simulator does a really, really good job of simulating Scotland. So, after departure, we're going to arm the speed, nav, engage autopilot, which is currently set to a stop of 6,000 feet. After that, we'll continue to climb to flight level of 370 flight level, and will get us down to London Heathrow. Safe and sound, maybe. The real fun comes when we try to land this thing. Right, so let's say we've got our departure clearance. Let's get all the lights on. Oh, there we go. All the lights are on. Yep, all the rest of the passengers are freaked out because there's a rabbit on board. Well, better than a snake, right? We don't want a snake on board. I would not be on board this aircraft if there was a snake. Okay. And yeah, runways looks pretty clear. Let's line up. Oh, it looks like it's brightening up over there. We'll aim for that spot in the sky, shall we? I do like this reflection of the EFB on the side window. I think that looks pretty neat. Okay, just before I depart, I'm just going to get that latest weather. I want to see just which way this aircraft is going to blow as we take off. So weather, it's dropped a little bit, the gusts have started 230 at 22, so could be a bit of a bumpy takeoff, but never mind. Let's go. Matthew, have we not already set the flaps? We've got flaps 8 set. To be fair, you may have missed it. Hopefully now, if we go toga, we should be all good, I think. Let's see what happens. Alright, let's release those brakes. Guys, flaps are set, are they not? Oh, I know what I haven't done. Stabilizer trim. Performance page. Stabilizer trim 8.6. All the way up. There we go. And flaps are flaps 8, so should be good. We'll find out in a minute when I start rolling. Matthew, they're not out in the sim. Oh dear. It's a good point. They're showing us 0, aren't they? Okay, let's try something else. Well, that's interesting. How do we get them to come out then properly? And should they be jumping degrees like that? Oh, good lord, we put 45 degrees flaps out. That's no good. Right, come on. We want flaps 8. There we go. Oh, how strange. Oh, and now they're moving again. Well, that's even stranger. Okay, flaps 8. Flaps 8. Okay, now we're good. I think. Ladies and gentlemen, please ensure your seatbelts are really securely fastened. Let's go. Okay, so there's Toga. Now let's see how this bumpy wind affects us. And V1, there's that wind. Up we go. There we are. And we're up and we're in the air. Oh, that's quite a steep angle, even for the CRJ. Told you we were going to the moon. Right, there we go. Let's get those flaps up. And we're now going to arm speed and nav. Turn on the autopilot and let that worry about it. Let's set speed of 250 knots. Have I? I have not. I wouldn't tell you ever to turn off your seatbelt sign whenever I'm in charge of flying this aircraft. Altitude capture, so that's going to stop at 6,000 feet. Wow, we really did shoot up nice and quickly, didn't we? Yuck oven, you just thought they hit Control E in real life. Well, as for pitching up to maintain 250 knots, that didn't happen. We've busted the speed limit quite happily. But on the plus side, we're going to get to our destination much quicker. Let's set a higher. Let's set the cruise level, shall we? Flight level 370. 370. There we go. And speed. Does speed not want to work today? There we go. Autopilot. Presumably now we should be in climb to ensure that works. Organised 92, yeah. And I'd love to be able to tell you exactly why we went a bit fast, but I've no idea. Right, as we're going to our climb level, let's set standard pressure, 1013. If I can't enjoy flying the aeroplane correctly, at least I can enjoy the beautiful clouds and graphics that we get through on the simulator.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may now use your electronic devices. Rechargeable battery.
So Matthew, it's because it leveled up at 6,000 feet, so presumably you'd be pulling the thrust levers back almost immediately after takeoff then, is that right?
You may also ask them about joining our frequent flyers club and joining the channel.
Aviation's officials called. There's no way I'd fly this thing officially. Okay, 10,000 feet. Should we get some lights off? There we go. Could be worse, guys. We could have crashed by now. I think it's testament to my wonderful pilot skills in this aircraft that we haven't. Unfortunately, though, we are now in the air, which means at some point we're going to have to come back down. Thankfully, though, not for about 50 minutes. So we're now going direct to Tala, VOR. Ah, Matthew, that is a really great tip. Whenever you see Alt Cap on the FMA, pull the thrust levers back. Right, I shall remember that for next time. These clouds are looking really neat today, aren't they? They're looking really, really good. Do you know what? I think I prefer being a passenger on this aircraft. I could just sit and look at this kind of view all day. My mind just doesn't work the CRJ way. Even though there are similarities, and obviously the way you fly the aircraft, what you should be doing to fly the aircraft, is the same principle in most commercial jets, but the way that that's implemented and the way the mind works, and so you see something, you know you need to do that, you see something else, you know you need to do that, and it becomes almost automatic given the aircraft that you're flying and used to flying. Suddenly you get thrown into a different aircraft and you know what you need to do, but you're not always 100% sure exactly how to do it. Matthew, I love it. So we tell new pilots on the jet that alt in alt capped means adjust little thrust, stupid. Oh, I'm more than happy to accept that. That's great. Okay, well, we'll release the cabin crew. And it's bouncing around all over the place. But that view, wow, look at that. Look at that, it's bouncing, it's so realistic, I feel sick. Of course, that could just be because there's over 100 people watching and I have no idea how to fly the aircraft. Lewis, is it normal in real life when you take off your belly feels weird and sometimes feel like you're dropping? I think that's just the general sensation. It's one of my favourite feelings, that when you're lined up on the runway, the engines kick in and you physically are pushed back into your seat. I think that's great. Yep, there's another quote for the merchandise. Could be worse, we could have crashed by now. Tell you what, this is a stunning view. And look at us bouncing around as well. I know a lot of people complained about the simulator when it first came out. But I don't see how anyone can complain about well, obviously the graphics were said time and time again, but even the weather simulation. You're no longer just flying straight and level from A to B. Captain B, yeah, I'll give him a shout out as well. Just call Nick Burrows, the EasyJet channel member, who obviously is with us tonight. He is a legend. He's made you a coffee cup design for the A320, so a really big thanks to him, Captain B, wholeheartedly. Nick also did the Easyjetsimpilot cup as well. So, very talented guy, far more talented guy than I am when it comes to stuff like that. I'll just stick to flying. Clearly not this aircraft. No talent behind this. But this looks stunning. Oh wow guys, look at that wing view.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to serve a selection of alcoholic drinks. Please make sure your tray table is in the down position and clear any items from the aisle. If you would like to upgrade to premium brands, super stickers and super chats are available. If you are a frequent flyer with us, you can now join the channel as a member and get extra perks to make your journey with us more enjoyable. Thank you.
It's a shame at some point that I have to go back to the flight deck and try and fly the aircraft, because this is just stunning. Tomorrow, of course, it's Mileage Monday, back in the A320 flight deck, thank God. And yeah, I've got quite a special one for you tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's Mileage Monday flight. Really looking forward to it. Something a little different. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel for that one. And I think the flight tomorrow, the flight time's a good 5 hours. So plenty of time to chat throughout the day. Get your Monday off to a good start. Dark, we should get some merchant satellite hotcakes. Speaking of cakes, he'll be right back. Hope it's a good cake for you. Okay, so this level of climb I'm quite comfortable with. About 1400 feet per minute. We're now we're now heading towards Dean Cross. Chris, you don't like the CRJ, but you like the view. Yeah, I'm with you. J-Hog, you're going to miss it because you're off north tomorrow. Oh, I wonder why. Yeah, part of the lockdown restrictions end here in the UK, don't they, tomorrow? So we can either have 2 families. Well, it's either what is it? 6 people or 2 households. So the start of easing of lockdown, and then here in the UK, and then I think the 12th of April all the shops open up, don't they? Juicy, you'll probably have us on the second monitor while doing university work. Well, to be fair, that's exactly what I do during the working week. I've normally got obviously the simulator on, and then I've got work. Difference is the work's on the second monitor, the simulator's on the first monitor. Nick, what time tomorrow? I will, as usual, for the channel members that are captains and trainer captains, I'll drop a message in the Discord chat. Although tomorrow is going to be very, very interesting with regards to anyone flying with me. More information on that coming soon. These clouds are extending rather high, aren't they? Seth, good evening. Very high level cloud now. Nicola, you love the CRJ. Each time you fly it reminds you how much you love fly-by-wire and the Airbus. Well, you know my view on fly-by-wire. The fly-by-wire team are just absolutely amazing. Matthew Prisley, that's a really good tip as well. Just use F6 and F7. Because you're right, I have found it doesn't work with the axis that I've got. Oh, there we go. Look, cloud break. Nice. Do like this British Airways CRJ livery as well. I think someone's done a really, really good job of that. Looks really rather neat. And we do actually have, once I've got to grips with this aircraft a little bit more, not too much, I mean, I don't ever see myself getting to the sort of level I am with the Airbus with this aircraft. Not quickly anyway. But once we've got to grips with this a little bit more, and I know that I'm not going to wreck the aircraft on departure or landing, then I've got a nice new paintwork for the aircraft coming along. So looking forward to showcasing that in the near future. If anyone's having issues with the buffering or anything like that, just try refreshing the browser for me. Not sure what's happening there. I'm just double checking actually for you. Yeah, I got no issues at this end. We've got a good uplink. Everything's been sent quite nicely to YouTube. The shouldn't be a Peppa Pig moment, although, do you know what? We have got a small problem this next couple of weeks. With speaking of Peppa Pig moments, the kids are now off school, aren't they? So that could be interesting. As we fight with their usage of Netflix and tablets and all that maloney. Hopefully the stream is okay now for you. Oh, that's interesting. Do you have to set your own barrow reference on here? Both sides. I'm going to have to come over here to do this. Oh, look at that. Didn't realise you had to set it at both sides as well. So, I knew that the screens were independent from the first officers and the captains, but like unlike the fly-by-wire at the moment, they haven't got things like the altimeter linked up. So, that's quite neat. Certainly something I didn't get before. So we're now 78 miles away from Nugra, which means our top of descent won't be too far away. Speaking of which, how high are we? We're already at 33,000 feet. Will we even reach our climb altitude? Glad the stream is fine now. Yeah, so over the Easter holidays here, I actually have a little project to do. The triplet's bedroom needs redecorating, which means that this weekend my wife and I have cleared everything out of their bedroom, and we've now got the three girls all asleep in the same room with our eldest lad. God bless him. He's a legend. The poor guy. I think after we threw him in bed tonight, we had to go up at least 5 times because he was complaining that the girls were just giggling and laughing. I'm like, they're 2, just ignore them. Okay, so our arrival and departure is already set. We've cleared any discontinuities we had in the legs page, so that should be fine. So let's just adjust the range rings on that. And there's our top of descent showing just there. So that's about, what, 70 miles away, something like that. So we can set our landing speed. I like to get prepped nice and early. As I say, don't know what I'm doing with the aircraft, so better to be prepared as much as possible. So set our landing speed. So what's our landing speed there? VRF is 138. So let's set those. That's all set. And if we go to the direct intercept on the FMC, where's that? There we go. Right, so from where we are to Nugra, we want to be going down at around about, it's saying about 1,000 feet per minute, 1,200 feet per minute. That sort of level, so that's what we'll expect as we get to our top of descent. Captain B, get him some EasyJet earplugs. He's got enough EasyJet stuff in his bedroom without adding any more items. So coming into London Heathrow, though, it's not an airport I fly into very regularly, given that EasyJet don't land there. So we'll be coming in via via Bovingdon. I'm getting after Bovingdon. We'll basically just vector ourselves in, if need be. Runway 27 right. And we need to pop in the ILS frequency, which is 110.3. Let's put that in. In fact, we can do it on here, can't we? Go to the radio page. 110.3 into nav 1. There we go. Amtrak, good evening, sir. Good to see you. Okay, we're never going to reach the cruise altitude. We're not, to be fair. I could have slowed the... oh, what happened there? Something jumped. That was the simulator. That was the simulator having a moment. We've seen that before in the Airbus. So it looks like we're actually now coming up on our cruising altitude, just in time for top descent, which is not as daft as it sounds. There are many routes where aircraft literally shoot up, shoot back down. But that's now coming up, as you can see. So the MDA here is, have a look, 278. We need to pop this on here, which is minimum descent. Oh, why am I don't want decision height. No decision height. We're not doing an auto land. MDA is 278, so 280. There we go. So that's all set as well. So at the top of descent, we'll start descent down to about 10,000 feet. And we're... there we go, alt capture. So, as instructed, we're now going to start to reduce thrust a little bit. Just in time for the top of descent. So Nick, yeah, we've obviously got the initial approach from Bovingdon, which is leaving the Bovingdon VOR at a heading of 127 degrees. But I imagine all this is going to be nicely coded in here already, looking at it, which is quite neat. I'm also just checking to see if these constraints match up with what we've got. So from Nugra to Torbid and Soppit. In fact, the first waypoint we have is... let me just bring this over, then you can actually see what I'm looking at. So the first... At Torbid we've got flight level 200 and then flight level 150, then down at Bovingdon flight level 70. So we'll aim for those. We'll set flight level 200 to be going on with. Anybody else want another drink?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to serve a selection of alcoholic drinks. Please make sure your tray table is in the down position and clear any items from the aisle. If you would like to upgrade to premium brands, simple stickers and super chats are available. If you are a frequent flyer with us, you can now join the channel as a member and get extra perks to make your journey with us more enjoyable. Thank you.
Just noticed when we were looking outside then that we seem to have a very sharp angle of attack, more so than I would expect in the cruise, so I'm guessing that was our that was my key to think surely we've not got enough speed, or we were dropping speed, and sure enough we were. The aircraft is now also dropping altitude. What's happening there? Is that because we got too slow? We're losing 4,500 feet per minute. We've not passed top of descent yet, so that's something that shouldn't be happening. Let's set climb thrust. I'm still losing speed. We're going to end up stalling in the sky here. So, this is the bit that I can't get my head around. I understand it wants us... Let's reduce our speed. So we really should be flying at around Mach 7.5, something like that. And as you can see, we're clearly descending. And shouldn't be. I've got engine is in the climb gate, so it should be providing a decent enough thrust for us to hold that. And oh, there we go, we're now starting to come back up just in time for as we pass the top of descent. So top of descent is now about to be passed. You know what, we're going to set now the altitude of, what was it, flight level 200. There we go. And I'm going to set VS. And we want to be going down probably about 1,000 feet per minute. So I've got autopilot on, nav's on, VS is armed. I've told it to go 1,000 feet per minute, and we're actually descending a little bit quicker than that. Didn't want to be. Chris, good question. What am I doing? I have no idea. I'm pushing buttons, I'm scrolling wheels, and I'm hoping for the best. What are you doing, sir? Oh, now we're descending at 4,500 feet per minute. Seriously. JJ, what's the angle of attack? The angle of attack was really quite poor. We were losing speed, so we were descending far too fast. We've passed the top of descent as well, and we've not got the snowflake or the donuts. I'm not sure what's happened there. Oh, there we go. Right. There's the donut and there's the snowflake. They've both come back. That's okay. That's neat. As we're going to go down to 10,000 feet as well, I can wind that speed up to 250 knots, but we're not using speed at the moment. We're using VS, about 1,000 feet per minute. Okay, we're descending on profile now. That's fine. So, in my extremely limited experience with this aircraft compared to my more favourable Airbus, I do find that this aircraft loses speed very, very quickly. Very quickly. And then also find it's quite a pain to actually get the speed back up. Either way, we're descending towards our first constrained waypoint. At Soppit we want to be at flight level 150. So I'm quite happy with that. I know in the descent you should probably have an N1 of around between 70 and 80. Keep an eye on the vertical profile as well. Either way, my biggest challenge now is getting the aircraft on the ground in one piece. Coming away from the CRJ for a moment, as we know that we just do this for a little bit of comedy value and a laugh, but going back to the more serious nature of the Airbus flying I do, then how many people have enjoyed the or tried using the auto land yet since it was released by Fly-by-Wire? Kutuni, yeah, good point. Turn off anti-ice to get more oomph out of the engines. I do agree with that. Have seen that in the past. However, right in the middle of, well, whatever this is, we've had quite a cloudy journey all the way through. In fact, where can we find the SAT? Do we have that shown anywhere? Yeah, so the SAT's 39 degrees. So if it was cooler, then I could probably turn icing off. But at 39, you're going to need the ice on. Gordon, good evening. I wouldn't recommend doing that either. So J-Hog, you've tried the auto land, worked for you, excellent. No more water landings for you, I hope. Don't forget to refuel the plane before you depart, and that'll be fine. Nicola, you tried the fly-by-wire auto land earlier today and it worked great, so much so you're a bit ashamed of your manual landings now. Yeah, you've used it. Was even forced to use it today because the joystick quit on me. Oh dear, that sounds bad. Nick, you love it. Excellent. Chris, I'm still descending at 205 knots. Yeah, I know that's slow. Nose is pitching way too high up. Start a descent, nose down until you pick up speed and add some more power. Okay, so if I add more power now, we're obviously going to speed up, which is fine. Let's keep an eye on that profile though. Strangely enough, I've not touched the thrust levers, not touched them one bit, and the N1 percentage has rolled back. I also find as well, compared to the Airbus, it takes a while for you to get response from the engines. So you've always got to be 2 or 3 seconds ahead of what you want before the engines spool up. JJ, they may not fly the CRJ-700 anymore. They used to. They did used to. As part of, is it Mersrick Air? However you pronounce that. Tell you, for you, the experimental autopilot isn't usable. Starts violently pitching up and down in all phases of flight. That's very strange. We've done 2 flights on it now, and it worked really, really well. Right, we need to increase our rate of descent because we have sped up. Chris, we did that as well. Obviously, before getting to the top of the descent, we went to where's it got? Direct intercept. Yeah, so there you go. You can obviously see. So it's telling us what is it? 1.8. What are we at? We're at 1.6. So we can probably increase that a little bit. There we go. Speed's now starting to increase. That's fair enough. If we can hold around 270 knots. Mind you, 270 knots is again my Airbus logic being applied to this aircraft. Captain B, does Autoland work on all ILS? Right. Well, I'm not going to get into that on this stream, but I will be doing a tutorial on Autolands, automatic landings, the different categories, when you use the different categories, which airports have different categories and what they mean, and it all comes down to things like the minimums that are applied at various different airports, runway visual ranges, whether the aircraft is fully serviceable, lots and lots of stuff to go into. So I will be doing one. Stay tuned to the channel. But the basic answer is yes. Autoland will work on all ILSs, certainly here in the simulator. But there's lots of things to consider in the real world compared to the simulator. For example, you wouldn't usually do a Cat 1 and then it be an Autoland. There's just not really certified to do that. We're picking up far too much speed. Come on, slow down, which means we're now too high. I should have just left it. I don't know how to fly the aircraft, so why did I try? Everything was working perfectly. My favourite phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. JJ, the sim crashed about 20 miles from... no, that's never good, is it? Captain B, that also happened to you on a live stream. Oh, there's nothing more annoying than that. Thankfully, touch wood, we've only had one crash to desktop since during a live stream. Right, so we're now coming down to flight level 150. There we go, flight level 150. And let's continue that descent, shall we? There we go. If the aircraft behaves itself for a moment, then we'll quickly just have a look. So, as you can see here, we've got the charts for Heathrow, and this is the ILS DME, lock DME chart, and we're doing, it's basically a Cat 1 ILS landing, which means that our minimums are going to be a minimum descent height of 278 feet, or a barometric baro height of 278 feet. So we're not going to descend below that if we can't see the runway. However, if you then come to, let's have a look, runway 27 right, Cat 2 and Cat 3, well then we have a little bit more information with regards to auto lands. Cat 2 and Cat 3 are usually auto land. Cat 1, weather's good enough for a manual landing. But Cat 2 and Cat 3, as you can see, for a Cat 2 we've put 102 in decision height or radio height, not the barometric height or minimum descent height, and Cat 3A is 50 feet. Cat 3B is there is no decision height. That means you just type no into the McDo. But then you've also got these runway visual ranges. Now you normally get these off the METAR reports or the ATIS. So depending on which one you are using depends on what the weather is doing. But as I say, I will sort out a full tutorial which will explain that. Are those clouds still looking as good as they did during takeoff? We had a beautiful flight, didn't we, on the departure? It looked fantastic. Right, that's flight level 150 coming up. Let's have a look. How far are we away? Right, so there's Soppit, so we now need to come down to flight level 70. There we go, flight level 70. And that's about 2,000 feet per minute again, so VS speed. I still also can't get the hang of scrolling up to descend. I think one of the problems that I have, and I don't know if anybody else will have had, moving over or transferring out of the Airbus flight deck and coming into the CRJ, and I've heard a lot of people say this, it is so hands-on. You almost can't leave the aircraft to its own devices for a minute, particularly when climbing or descending, because the aircraft will just lose speed or it'll come off profile, and yeah, it just doesn't work. Sam C, good evening. How's your flight deck doing? It's looking great. So, lots of clouds. De-ice is on, of course.
Gentlemen, the captain has turned on the seatbelt sign. Please fasten your seatbelts as soon as possible. Thank you.
Chalky, this aircraft reminds you of flying the Dash 8. Yeah, I can understand that. I spent a lot of time many years ago in the simming in the Dash 8, which had, again, it was similar, but I don't know, I still found that a little bit more intuitive than this aircraft, probably because ever since then I've been in the Airbus, which is naturally very, very intuitive. Cybermetic, good evening, sir. Hope you are well. Concerns with that we've got a decision height of 0 marked up there. That shouldn't be right. Can we get rid of that? Can we just turn that off? I don't want any decision height at all. There we go. Gone. The localizer has also been picked up. We can see that is now in blue. We're on profile again. 250 knots. 10,000 feet. Actually, that's looking quite good. Let's get those lights on then, shall we? still think it will be a long time before I ever decided to go on VATSIM in this aircraft. Just because I like doing things correctly. Jafir, good night from India. Hope you are well. One of the other things I should probably have checked is a speed restriction. Right, so we've got a speed restriction of 220 knots at Bovingdon. So we're not going to obviously use speed, but I'm just going to pop that there. Let's start to roll that back. Roll that speed back a little bit as we're about to pass Bovingdon, which is fine. This aircraft loses speed rather quickly, as we've discovered. There we go, flight level 70. So alt capture. Christian, good evening, sir. Are you well? Are you ready for another disastrous approach in the CRJ? So just trying to find a good thrust setting for maintaining about 220 knots. So the platform altitude for runway 27 right is 2,500 feet. So that initial approach from the Bovingdon VOR tells us that 80 miles from Bovingdon we want to be at about 180 knots. So that's okay for slowing down now. Don't want to get too slow. The aircraft does lose speed very quickly. You can see, look at that angle of attack. We're still 10 degrees pitched up. Anyway, we need to start descending a little bit. We can go down to 6,000 feet now. There we go, 6,000 feet. Let's descend down. About 500 feet per minute should do it. Captain B, you learnt a very valuable lesson today. Check your instruments. Well, yeah, particularly flying IFR. So that's okay. We're now holding about 220 knots, which is fine. Once we hit 220 knots, is that when the aircraft starts to descend? I haven't told it to go 220 knots. Why are we not going down? I've set a VS speed. This is what frustrates me about this aircraft. But then again, it's probably pilot error, not aircraft error. Okay, we've got too much speed there. We've broken a speed restriction. Another reason why I'm not comfortable flying on VATSIM just yet. But this is most certainly pilot error, not aircraft error. There we go. Now we're coming down. What was the transition altitude here? Was it 6,000 feet? In which case, set standard pressure, set local pressure. Okay, so now we're at 6,000 feet, and once again, I'm just looking at the charts to make sure we're following this around. Right, so now we can start to descend to 3,000 feet as we make our approach around, come in and line up with the ILS. So down we go. Let's select 3,000 feet. I can't actually read that, it's so very, very small. So 3,000 feet, let's set VS speed, and why are we flashing alt capture? I've just changed that. That should be now at 3,000 feet. VS speed. Oh! And come on, down we go. Please. There we go. Okay, so in a moment we're obviously going to turn over to the right, intercept the ILS, fingers crossed. Probably need to descend, in fact no, we're probably descending at about the right rate actually, that looks okay. Okay, so passing around 4,500 feet, should start to see this localizer coming up. Sorry, not the localizer, the glide slope coming up any minute now. And if we now change the nav source to localizer, there we go. So we're now just starting to fly in line with the glide slope, coming up on 3,000 feet. The aircraft is just flying straight ahead now, which is absolutely fine. But I'm now going to pop it into heading mode. It can't fly in nav mode because I've just taken the local. I've just put it in. I've just put the localizer on. So I'm going to put heading mode on, and let's bring that heading around now. Slowing the aircraft down. Let's get some flaps out. So that's flaps 1. Started to slow this aircraft down. We'll get lined up and then we'll arm the approach. Oh, we've actually just shot through the localizer. That's fine. We'll just bring it all the way around. And we'll capture that again. And there's London, the busy streets of London. So just watching that speed dropping. I don't mind the speed dropping a little bit, but we don't want to lose it too much. And I find fighting with the speed is really difficult in this aircraft just because I'm not used to it. So let's arm the approach now. Why are we climbing? So now it's capturing glide slope and localizer. That's fine, but I just don't understand why the aircraft was climbing there. Could someone tell me? Rusty C, Microsoft Flight Simulator is horrendous. Please elaborate. I think Microsoft Flight Simulator is absolutely fantastic. The pilot you're watching today may be horrendous. Oh come on. We'd armed the approach. You're meant to have captured the glide slope and you're continuing to climb at a ridiculous rate. We're now going to be chasing the glide slope all the way down, and I can't actually see the runway because of this cloud bank. So is it going to chase? It should catch up to that glide slope now, descending at 2,000 feet per minute. We laugh and joke in the Airbus that the aircraft has the what's it doing now mode, but I think I've had a lot more what's it doing now moments in this aircraft than I have the Airbus. So we're now 9.5 miles from touchdown, or splashdown. There's the runway. So that's good, at least we've got a bit of a runway view. What are we reckoning to the landing rate then, guys? Is the nose wheel going to join us in the cabin?
Cabin crew, about 15 minutes to landing.
15 minutes? I don't think so. Tell you what, guys, just for a laugh, shall we record the replay? We'll see how this goes in a in a replay after we've touched down. Hard work's done now. At least I'm lined up with the runway. So let's hit that record button. And we'll see what happens at the end. So we are now... Oh, why is the simulator stopped? That's not good. Oh no, there we go, we're flying again. It must have just had a momentary lapse of concentration. Okay, so get that gear down. And we'll start to get those flaps fully out. That looks a little bit windy as well, doesn't it? Seatbelt is unfastened and you're standing by the door. Would you care to open it and jump out now? Fitzy, oh no, you got here late. Oh, well, you've not missed anything you haven't seen before when I try to fly this aircraft. And let's go flaps full. Oh. Oh, that's giving us a bit of a float. What's it doing now? It doesn't, should it float that much? Good lord. Are we just nose diving towards the aircraft? 1,000. Should I just disconnect autopilot and fly her in manually? Let's go complete Cessna mode, shall we? Frame rates, frame rates. This is the last point of a flight you want to be losing frame rates. Okay, I have control. That's probably the only time I've ever said it and not really meant it. Oh, these frame rates are shocking. What's happening here? What were we saying about the new Microsoft patch supposedly increasing them? If I manage to get this on the ground in anywhere near the touchdown zone, hell no, anywhere near the actual runway with this slideshow, it'll be a flipping miracle. I'm also losing the sound as well. I don't know if you guys can hear that. This is insane. I've never had it this bad before. I don't know if it's because it's London Heathrow, but no, I've flown into London Heathrow plenty of times offline in the simulator just for a bit of fun, and it's never happened like this before. Oh, we're very high. I have to fight the aircraft not to climb. Not helped by this frame rate buffering. It's a good job. It's a nice long runway. Oh my word. Should we just sink rate? I want to go down, that's okay. We've been held at 50 for a long time now, mid-air. That's probably not the worst landing I've done in the CRJ, although we appear to be wheeling around a bit. Oh, there we are. Yeah, I was wondering if it was the replay app that was causing a problem, but we've used the replay app, dozens of times and never had a problem. So, not sure why that's causing an issue. It's never caused one in the past. Welcome to London Heathrow, ladies and gentlemen. Please do not wait until the aircraft has come to a complete stop before removing your seatbelts and jumping out. Oh, let's just target the nearest gate we can find, shall we? That'll do. We'll just skid it in. There we are. Oh, right. And we're down. We're at the gate. I'm not even sure if that jetway can come and connect up to this aircraft. It's that high up. Anyway, let's load that replay up, shall we? Let's just stop that recording and hit the load button. That's okay, it will send it to night time. Let's hit the play button. That should start to sort us out in a moment. But yeah, we've used the replay thing loads of times before. Never had any problem. Yep, can I do donuts? It looked a bit like it, didn't it? To be fair, I could probably do donuts in the aircraft better than I can flying it. Let's put it back to daytime. There we go. Hopefully the frame rates will be absolutely fine now coming in. As we can see, that doesn't look too bad at all. The CRJ Drift Simulator. So I've got to be honest with you guys, that those of you that know me and know me well from the channel, etc., I don't really enjoy flying this aircraft, and that is not because I don't like the aircraft or because I think it's a poor aircraft or anything like that. I don't like flying it because I don't know how to fly it, and I like doing things correctly. That's what the Easyjetsimpilot channel is all around. In the Airbus, we do real world procedure flights. We do everything that the real pilots do, which is why we'll spend an hour on the ground prepping everything, making sure everything's set, cross-checked, checklists, etc., etc. And I know most of you watch this channel for that exact reason. The CRJ, for me, I must be missing so many things when I'm going, like the aircraft will climb when I don't expect it to, it'll descend when I don't expect it to. Even when I am trying to manage the thrust levers, then it's just doing stuff I'm not expecting it to, and I'm guessing that is, of course, myself. It is not the aircraft. I'm sure there's real world CRJ pilots on here. Well, there is. We spoke to Matthew. That will tell you that it's absolutely a really wonderful aircraft from Aerosoft. They've done a cracking job. But until I know how to fly it, it's going to frustrate me. Yeah, even still struggling with the frame rates on the replay, aren't we? The sync rate call out was in exactly the right place.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
But if we have a look from outside, we do a great wheelie halfway down the runway. I keep forgetting we need to put the nose down on this thing, which apparently is a bug. That's the ground effect from Microsoft Flight Simulator. Christian, I think you've actually just translated what I meant there perfectly. Passengers don't want to hear the pilot say, I don't like this aircraft. So if I just rewind that back, not for the full way, but if we just go back a little bit, we'll check out the... check that out again. If we come outside... Can we come outside? We were actually crabbing in the wind as well. Just see that? Slight little bit of rudder just to make sure we're lining up at the last minute, and then I think we sort of we drifted over there, didn't we? Great stuff. Oh yeah, I'm blaming the fact that I can't fly the aircraft on a bad landing. In fact, in all fairness, do you know what? I've done worse landings than this. Oh, the simulator's dying frame rates wise though. That's quite disappointing. Oh, great stuff. Alright guys, so we're going to call that a night for tonight. Tomorrow I shall be back in the aircraft I love. Back in the Airbus. Back in the Airbus A320. We have got Mileage Monday to look forward to. We've got a special Mileage Monday to look forward to. I'm really excited to do this with you. Of course, it is a long haul flight, so that's a good 6, maybe 7 hour stream tomorrow, starting tomorrow morning here in the UK. More details on the route, etc. will be posted in the VIP room in our Discord server. And I'm just watching the aircraft taxi up there. And oh, we've actually got real air traffic turned on. So I wonder who on earth that was. That could actually be another reason for the frame rates dropping. I'd not thought of that. So yeah, we've got Mileage Monday tomorrow. Really looking forward to a very special flight back in the Airbus. I'll be back feeling more comfortable and maybe not quite as tired as well. We've lost an hour's sleep last night, which never helps. But thanks very much everyone for flying with me. Nick, I know you love me flying the CRJ. Sarcastic Sundays. I can see that becoming a thing. Alright, I look forward to seeing you all very, very soon. Hopefully tomorrow for the long haul flight at some point. Good night everybody. Hope you've had a great weekend. Bye bye for now.
30, 20,